So the ruby red, fucking hot pink if you ask me, Kramer Baretta Special. So here's another little video from some other dude in his basement. So I bought two of these. I bought this one, and I bought the candy blue one. Just like everybody says, you know, pretty much out of the box. They're a great bass guitar, but modifications have to be done to them. I don't even know if it's modifications. I think it's just upgrades, because you're not really modifying anything. You're just kind of changing out some of the cheaper components with something better. So most everybody right off the bat does the volume pot. So just so you know, what's in there in that bleed circuit, that treble bleed circuit, is it's a capacitor. So it's not a resistor. Although there are treble bleed circuits that combine a capacitor and a resistor, but the thing that's on this is a little capacitor. The actual knob itself is a resistor. It's a variable resistor is what it is. So I did change that out first thing. I thought, oh, okay, well, I really don't like that volume pot, so I put a CTS in it. I put a 250K, which is a lot of times used as the tone pot in Strats and single coils and stuff. But, you know, a la Eddie Van Halen, I put a 250K in there. Other than that, the only thing that I have changed out would be the Graphtec nut. So it came with a cheapy, shitty little plastic nut, and I figured I would just delete the main binding string issue by changing that out. So that's what I did. I didn't change the tuners. I didn't change the bridge. I didn't change the pickup. I didn't have to adjust the truss rod, but I did have to do quite a bit of setup work on the bridge saddles, and I did tighten up all the nuts on the tuners, and I tightened up the little screw on the end there too, so that kind of like tightens the knob, kind of tightens the gears, I guess. One other thing I did do is I did put a larger tremolo block in it. The other one was really, really scrawny, and, you know, strings touch metal for the most part, and so, you know, back in the 80s, they had these old Sustainiac blocks and everything, and I don't even know if anybody uses those anymore. But to have the string anchored to something solid that actually makes a weight difference, and if I remember right, in the comments I'll try and denote what the difference was, because I actually weighed the two, and there's significant difference in weight. So I did do that. And keep in mind, when you do change out the tremolo block, I did have to route out, well, not route out, I put a rotary rasp, one of these guys, on my Makita, and just took out some of the material there, just so the trem block wasn't hanging up on anything. Now, I still don't have it completely dialed in to where I can do like dive bombs and everything, but there are some guys that say that's possible with just this stock bridge. And I think there's even somebody out there that left the plastic nut, but I don't know. I'm not totally convinced that that'll work on every guitar. I mean, some people have gotten these things just a pile of shit straight out of the box. Their necks twisted, can't do anything with them. Other people have said that they have gotten them right out of the box. The action's been fucking perfect. It was even in tune, if you can believe that. But that's what they say. This and the other one were not. The action was high. Luckily, the neck wasn't way out of adjustment, but there was some stuff to work with. One thing that I noticed that nobody's really mentioned. So I put a meter on this pickup. This thing's fucking hot. It's 16K ohm. 16K ohm. That's hot. Your average pickups are like, hot ones might be 8 or 9 or 10. I think I've got one that's like 14 or something, but I was like, holy shit. So you might want to like really do like some, major experimentation on the height of the pickup to the strings, because it's a little harsh sounding to me. You might have to EQ around it, or maybe just even put in a different pickup. But I'm kind of staying with the spirit of the cheap guitar, and trying not to do too much. So, $12.77. I think I bought it directly from what is it, Graphtech. So that's $12.77. Maybe some shipping on that, and a volume pot, and new strings. I put 10s on this because I can't do 9s. But that's in the spirit of keeping the guitar a cheap guitar. So I think this one was $179 and the blue one was $199, and they both have the maple necks. Can't remember. They said they're supposed to have mahogany bodies. This one is like fucking 2 pounds plus heavier than the blue one. So outfitted exactly the same. There's no difference in anything. And when I was taking away some of the wood material back there, I don't know, man. It didn't look like mahogany to me. So I'm not sure. I guess if somebody's got money to burn, they can buy a 179 knockoff, or maybe find one off Craigslist or something that they can't get their money back because the neck's fucking twisted. Maybe they can buy it. If I find one for $50, I'll buy the fucking thing, and I'll saw it in half just to see what the wood is and see what it's supposed to be. Maybe there's the information out there exactly what it is. I've tried Googling it, and I just haven't come up with anything yet. So, yeah, other than that, if anybody wants to know what I was playing my shitty, stupid riffs through, it's an old Pandora's box set to the US high gain and to the 412 vintage cab, with a little bit of plate reverb and a little bit of delay in it. I think the setting was Echo 1, just kind of barely on, a little bit, just to get a little depth. But anyways, so yeah, these are my first Kramers. I've always liked them. I'm a Van Halen guy. At heart, that was my first guitar hero. Even though I listen to a lot of sludge and doom and stoner metal these days, but I did have a guy, buddy of mine back in high school, and he had a white. It was either a Baretta or it was a Striker, and I think it had the tilted pickup. So I can't remember. And I think it had a Floyd Rose on it, but I would borrow his guitar when my guitar in the 80s, I still have this thing. It's an old Fender Squire. I think it's called an S335 or something, from like 85 or 86 or something. When this would be on the Fritz, I'd borrow his, and I never wanted to give that thing back because it was a much nicer guitar than mine. So, but for a starter guitar, they're pretty good, but have somebody set it up, because if you're just starting out, you're probably going to be terribly disappointed. Unless you really want to fucking play guitar, because when I was a kid, we had shitty guitars, and you just played them, and you figured it out. So, anyways, that's my take on the Kramer Baretta Special. And, oh yeah, when you're doing all this shit, if you don't like to have that goofy Baretta Special, just flip that bell cover around. It's easy. Put screws back in. All right. Out.